Good evening, people. Welcome to my podcast. You know, today I told you that Weston Linderman was going to be here. He would have came today, but he wanted to have a little more time to prepare himself. So it will be next Thursday when our guest will be Weston Linderman. And of course Tuesday, you know, Lolo will be here. And Dice Man, how you doing?
I'm good, bro.
And the folks really enjoyed you last week. They they
Really?
they got to hear what I've always known about you. You know that you really have a excellent point of view. In my opinion, you created some fans,
Yeah, yeah.
some enemies too now.
I bumped into a couple of them.
For real.
Yeah, yeah.
What did they say, Dice?
I really, believe it or not, I didn't bump into any enemies like I thought. Actually, a couple of people say it made them open their minds, so that's
Yeah,
good. That's what I
yeah.
want.
And of course, that's what we want to do. We want you to be enlightened. We want you to understand things. People are. We're gonna talk again on a national level. We're gonna talk about what's going on in our country right now. The president of the United States still has not conceded the election. With allegations, they are just throwing suits together. I mean, just throwing them together. One such lawsuit, we'll talk about that later, and we'll talk about even Republicans. I mean, this president and his group of people, they are even attacking their own constituencies. They are attacking Republicans such as Raffensperger, the Secretary of State of Georgia, and also Smith, who's a local election official in Pennsylvania. Donald Trump and his people have attacked him, and of course he's sending out a tsunami of emails soliciting donation. He has about 70 million people, I think, in his email list that he is sending out and asking for donations. And people, this is money that he's not going to. He's saying one of the things that he's saying to solicit money, and I'm gonna say this. And this is a quote from an email that he's sending. They're trying to steal this election. I promise you, my team is fighting. Hear what he just said. Notice this. They're trying to steal this election. Folks, the election is already over. It's already over. Joseph Biden Jr. is president-elect. There's no way that Donald Trump can win, but he's using this again to solicit money. It's his last con while he's in office. He said, I promise you, my team is fighting the clock to defend the integrity of this election, right? But we cannot do it alone. We need every patriot like you to step up and make sure we have the resources to keep going. Please contribute any amount right now to defend the election. See, folks, playing, switching bait. The election is already over. And that's what we've been getting with this president. We haven't been getting honesty. And people, I read in the news all the time about how it is in countries such as Iran, where they have the Ayatollah, even in Russia, where Putin is in office and keep changing the constitution and keep changing laws so that he can stay in power. And I'm fearful of that. I'm fearful of dictatorships such as Saddam Hussein now, and Omar Gaddafi, even people that are in Africa that are dictators that are oppressing the people and destroying the people. I'm fearful of that, and I can tell you why I'm fearful of that, because this president is exhibiting traits just like those people, refusing to accept the fact. And the irony in all of this is that when our folk, when we supported Hillary Clinton and she won, she lost, we didn't do any of this. We didn't attack, we didn't appeal. She conceded the election and she won the popular vote. And that's what I'm fearful of, people. I'm fearful that this president, and he know he got to go, but what he's want to do, he want to remain relevant. He want to he want to be a force in the Republican Party. And there are pansies to accept or allow for him to even do that. They're getting ready to fill another somebody to the federal board. Things that are just, this is what you call a lame duck administration, and normally they don't do anything. They won't even allow for the President-elect Biden to come in and give him what they call security briefings from the community, what they call it, the community like the FBI, the CIA, that community. So he's not doing any of the things. He's not allowing for him to have access to emails or anything like that. Things that are unheard of. And here's what it is, people. He's the president of the United States. This country only allows for us to have one president at a time. And so while it's unheard of, maybe it's unethical, it's not the normal things to do. He's not breaking the law. And so, but these are the kind of things that Donald Trump is defend the election, but the election is over. The votes are counted, and he lost. And he will return to the private role or the head of his Trump organization. And of course, the money that he's using, Trump properties bill taxpayers at least $2.5 million for such things as $7,000 for a dinner, $6,000 for flowers, $17,000 monthly for a cottage, up to $650 a night for hotel rooms, $1,000 for drinks for the White House staff, and even $3 for drinking water. And this is just some of the things that this president has done in milking us, the citizens in this country. And so while, and I want to say this to you out there, those of you that supported Donald Trump and did see, when I talk about Percy Bland, and when I talk about Percy Bland, when I talk about the things that he's doing here that dissatisfied me and it embarrassed me as a citizen of this community, when I talk about him, right, I want change. If I can look at what's going on this level here and that upsets me and I don't like it, but I can support what's going on a national level, then that's kind of somewhat hypocritical. And so I gotta tell you guys out there, if you can support Donald Trump, but you don't like what's going on here in Meridian, well, they two and one in the same. You got the same corruption like on a national level, on a local level. But first thing we got to do is we got to fix our house. And Dice Man, what's the name of this show today? We titled this show. What was the title we gave for this show? Is it The Odds With Us?
Yeah, the odds are with us.
Yeah, the odds are with us, folks. The odds are with us, meaning that we have implemented change. And what I mean by that is now we have an opportunity to get things right. That's over. We don't have anything to do with the national election at all now. You and I, we have cast our votes. It's over. So now we got to focus on local issues. We got to focus on making what we have here in this community and your communities out there. We got to focus on, hey, cleaning our house. Now, we done cleaned up the national White House. We cleaned that up. That's over with. They got less than 2 months left. So we don't have less than 3 months left. We don't have to concern ourselves with that. That's over. But we got to concern ourselves with what's going on here, right here in this community here. And I'm going to deviate a little bit, and I'm going to come back to this. And we're going to open up the phone line. So if you want to call in with your comments or have something, Dice, open up the phone line so that they can call in. And make sure you leave your comments. I want to talk about things here, and we'll get back to the national level, this election, and we're going to call it the Trump administration and the Biden administration that's coming in. Today I filed paperwork. Folks, I cannot impress upon you how important it is for you, if you have a criminal record, to do all you can to take advantage of the laws that are out there for you that will protect you. If you have a misdemeanor conviction, such as DUI, it can be expunged. Any DUI, any misdemeanor, let's take DUI out of it. DUI and DUI other. Let's take it out of this, what I'm about to tell you now. Any other misdemeanor, that's shoplifting, disturbing the peace, aggravated assault, any of these things can be removed. And all it takes is application. If you're under the age of 22 in the state of Mississippi and you commit any misdemeanor except for traffic ticket, you can have it expunged just by requesting it. If you're over the age of 22, then you have to have 2 years clear record from the time the offense was committed. I can't impress upon you how important it is for you to clean up your record. It'll affect you in so many different ways. And as our population increase and we're becoming more competitive for the scarce resources that are out there, they're going to create more and more rules and laws in order to deny you, we're going to say, equal chance. or right to enjoy life and liberty. If you have a felony conviction, a misdemeanor can stop you from doing things. Aggravated assault, simple assault, domestic violence. It's not really much difference between the two, because domestication ain't nothing but being either domestication gonna be at home or in your area, right? So if you fussing or arguing, it's still gonna be domestic violence. If it's an argument, if it's a fight, it used to be simple assault, but they don't do that anymore. They said simple assault, domestic violence, because domestic violence has we're gonna say a rougher bite, a bigger bite to hurt you. And so if you have a felony, if you only have one felony conviction, if it's not a violent crime and it's not drug trafficking, you can get that expunged off your record. Expunge means wipe clean. Not on the NCIC, they put your name in there, it'll come back negative. You can go and purchase guns. And some of the people that I know have made that mistake, such as Howard Jackson. I think that's Howard Jenkins. Yeah, Howard Jenkins, that's his name. We call him Pee Wee. And Douglas McKee made that mistake, and they end up picking up Howard Jenkins picked up another DUI, and wow, and had he got the one expunged, and it had been 20-some years, he could have got that expunged, then he wouldn't be faced with going to prison. Now he's faced with prison time. And the same with Douglas McKee. Had he got his expunged, and he got caught with a handgun by a fella. Wow. See how we make mistakes? One person, that's what Howard Jenkins said. That's been 20-some years ago. It don't even count anymore. Yes, it does. It count. I had somebody record expunged, and they picked up their case in 1975, put that person's name in there, and that person was overboard and trying to do something, and the state ran a check on him, and they said you cannot be over an office of trust because you have a felony conviction. So that person had to step down. But how about I got that person record expunged, and that person had been around here doing all kind of things, but once his record, they did that background check on him, it came up and he had to, but he got it expunged. And so now he can do anything with the state. He can buy guns. And if he get in trouble again, it's as if he had never been in trouble before. And so I got to tell you guys that you can call me, and I'll be glad to get your records expunged. In my case, I got mine expunged. And when I was going through the situation with my daughter, it came back that I had been arrested. And how about I went and checked with the sheriff department, and how about the one I had expunged is not there. But I had other cases too, and both of those what you call nulla prosequi, null process, or null process, what you like to say out there. And it's NOLLEPOSIQUI, and that's nulla prosequi. And I had it. In other words, they refused to go forward with the case, and it's like a dismissal. But it was still there. When they put my name in there, it came in. Folks, I'm finna tell you, I had count. It was conspiracy. Yes, I don't mind telling you. Conspiracy, count 1. Uttering forgery, count 2. Uttering forgery, count 3. I had count 4. All they tool belt. They took me all the way to the first 10 numbers on count, and then I may get indicted one time, and then they had count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Y'all gotta let me tell it, but you know I'm kind of like being a little bit facetious. But I filed paperwork for that today, folks, and it'll be gone in about 2 more weeks. I filed, I paid the filing fee, I let the district attorney know about it, and it'll be gone. So if I want to go do anything, I don't have to worry about anything coming up from my past to haunt me, because I'm back right with the house. And so that was good. And I want to talk to you guys. I talked to you last week how I went before the workshop with the city council. And I can tell you that I met with Laura Carmichael today. And it was the exact opposite from going into the workshop. I can tell you that I met with her today. Carl Clark came with me, and so did the other person, the owner of this property. His name's Kid. He came too. And I can tell you, people, is that we had an excellent meeting. Laura invited us. We came into her. That's her house, because she's the director, so we came into her house. It was such a vast difference between how I was treated in community development and how I was treated when I went before the city council. I told you how, in my opinion, Kim was I think they kind of planned it too, but I think they kind of planned to do things. Kim really wouldn't let me speak and kept hitting the little knocker. And I think what they were trying to do is get me off my A game. We'll say it like that. They was trying to they was actually trying to provoke me. They had the police there for me to go to jail. That didn't work, and so when the man stood up and said that they was over there working on the property without a permit, person wanted to know whether or not it was me that was working on the property. Could I go to jail for that? Is it a fine? What do you do in situations like that? Can he go to jail? Oh man, I'm talking. And it's sad that this administration can be so vindictive. And we have the governing authority. We got to change things, people. This city here is just really, really bad, and it's not an embarrassment for me. I'm angry. I'm angry at the people that are there, that's in a position of authority but won't utilize that. Anytime they enact an ordinance, and an ordinance is a law, but it's implemented, passed on a state level. So it's called an ordinance, but it's still a law. But any law that's passed cannot conflict with the laws of the state, which cannot conflict with the Constitution of the United States. You understand? Federal statutes and laws. They all have to coincide. This attorney asked me to send him a copy of the ordinance. And let me tell you now, Tubel, I was nice enough to do that. I was nice enough to send Stover, Attorney Stover, Kermit stand-in. I was nice enough and polite enough to send it to him. Now, you understand I should not have. But you know, bro, we weren't brought up like that. We weren't brought up like that. We were brought up to be as helpful as we can because I want this to be expedited. And so I sent him the ordinance and the pages and the laws and the dates that it was signed. Bro, he didn't even send me a courtesy email back and said thank you. And I have not heard from him. And I'm talking about this because they were so rude to me when I was in, we're going to say, the house of the city, when I was in City Hall, when I was in that auditorium, when I was in the city council chamber. They were rude, in my opinion. They did not treat me like I was a guest in their home, but Laura Carmichael did the exact opposite. She treated me very nice and very respectful, and I'm not saying it's because of who I am, because she treated Carl Clark the same way. She treated Ked the same way. I hear what you're saying. I got to pause for a minute. Y'all know Two Belt is always talking to me. Him and his wife, man, she just over there. Miss Two Belt just telling, now you know why he won't give his whole name. It ain't y'all business. That's intentional. This person here, he's a very good brother. He's a young entrepreneur that doesn't know a lot when it comes about building, but he's very good on how to treat people and what he need to do to go to that next level and what he need to do in order to make a difference in this community. And he's doing that. And so when I see young people, that's the reason why I'm always giving Dice Man his props. I got to. You know, he didn't go to college, but he's a genius, folks. I ain't talking about it in one thing. That rascal over there, don't let him see your picture, Dice Man. That rascal is a genius in everything, just like me. I'm just telling you the truth. I am too. But Miss Two Belt, I wasn't trying to get this in. Miss Two Belt, I see your daughter today. I seen Kinshasa. I seen my niece Kinshasa Two Belt, and I spoke to her. I said, "Hey, Kinshasa Two Belt," and she just started laughing. But anyway, Two Belt, I got to tell you, my little daughter in there, Rhea, you got her calling me Two Belt because she like to tell her story like her daddy do. And when I correct her, as any parent's supposed to do, she said, "Okay, Two Belt, Daddy Two Belt." So I guess I might be Two Belt too on some of those occasions. But I want to get back and say this is that, you know what? Now, I got to say this. Now, she was very good. She was very good. And I'm going to tell you how good she was. She kept Sally out of the meeting. Sally didn't even know the meeting was taking place, folks, because Carr got there before me, and Sally was there and didn't know anything about the meeting. I think that was a very good strategic move, because when you have somebody that's antagonistic, you don't want them in the meeting. You want to leave them outside. And hold up. And so, you know, Sally is very bad in this community too, Bill. And one of the things Miss Carmichael said, and I got to tell y'all what she said that when you say that he's not licensed, that's not necessarily true. She said that he was a licensed electrician. And I listened at her, and then this is how I rebut. I said, well, I'll give him that. Let's say he's a licensed electrician, he's a licensed plumber, and he's a licensed HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning person. Let's say he have all those licenses. He's still not a licensed builder, too, Bill. An electrician can't build no damn house. So she had to give me that. You know, I'm good. I'm very good at this. And but my point of it is Sally going into the community, telling black folks what they can't do. And the first thing she said, bro, I just, now, you know, I ain't like the True Master. You know, the True Master loved everybody. I really admire her professionalism and how she took charge. What she did is said that none of us, we're not here to tell anybody what they're not going to do. She took care of that off the top, bro. We're not telling anybody they're not going to build anything. We just want to make sure that they build it and do it. And hey, that's all we asked for. So Carl was taken care of. Carl going to be able to build his building back over there. And what he got to do is he got to bring the paperwork from when he was grandfathered in. Now, the grandfather law done changed. Now, you can be grandfathered in, but this city council here, not the old one, bro, the one under Kim Barney Houston, probably was president. And I'm telling my story like I want to. Kim Barney Houston said that if your grandfathered in and over 50% of the structure is destroyed, you can't rebuild back there. You got to go. But hold up, that's not the whole story too well. Because how about Carr had all that rezoned? So he can build there because it's been rezoned. You can't tell a person what they can't do. If a person want to do something in this city, because it's community development. It's always about growth and development. If we gonna grow something and we gonna develop something, let's, instead of saying what a person can't do, let's figure out how we can do it. Now, Solly got a real nice smile and he's respectful to me, but I know he don't like me. But Solly is a racist, and so. And another thing Laura did that I like is that she said, we're not going to call names. Because I call his name out immediately. We get his complaint. I done got 1,000. Wait a minute, hold up. Let me check my book. I know what y'all saying. That ain't no book. Y'all need to let me tell my story like I want to. I just checked my book. Everybody in Meridian, everywhere that man being is complaining on him. And I got it right here. Y'all see it right here. That's good enough. Y'all need to see. Let me tell my story. But I know from a reliable source that this man here done got nothing but complaints going into the black community, telling them what they can and cannot do. Here's what I like to say to you, person. You don't need no rascal like that in your administration and you trying to get reelected. Now, Miss Laura is real sweet. Now, I'm just tell you that, and she's very good. She's amicable, easy to talk to. She knows what she's doing. She knows how to resolve issues. But he's worse than Phil, too. But you know how I play. I don't like your ass. That's what I said to Phil. You need to go. You need to go. Ain't you been here long enough to retire? Well, bro, he's gone. So I guess he listened to me and went on down the road. Solid, we need for you to do the same thing. And I got to tell you this too, Solid. And I said the same to your face, and I know you're going to look at this. In the next administration, if this administration don't send you on down the road and find something else for you to do, we're going to find something for you to do in the next administration. Now, we can't fire you, but we sure can make it very uncomfortable for you. We don't want anybody working in this community. We don't care what color you is. We don't care whether you're white or black, because even some you know, I like some of the people, but I've heard some horrible things about some of the black people that are going out into the community, some of the city inspectors that are just antagonistic. But so what we don't want is we don't want anyone going into our communities being antagonizing poor folk. Poor folks out there in the community, in the neighborhoods, making money, make a living the best way they can. Here you got 3 black people, and I know some of you out there be disdainful when I'm talking about black and white issues, but it is black and white issues. And I give Percy the blues now. I'm going to tell y'all something. I picked my daughter up today in my Corvette. Had the top down, went and picked her up, and we was riding down A Street. All of a sudden, this Honda car pulled up beside me, and it's Percy Bland. He smiled at me and did one of them little things. You know, he made me laugh, folks. And I got to say this. Percy know how to get y'all now. I'm going to tell you now. But again, I still say to you, and I say to you, Percy, that you got an uphill climb. You got an uphill battle. You know, with that kind of smile and the kind of thing he did today is the kind of thing what make people like him and things like that. But we ain't gonna look at it. It's not about like. It's not about like at all. I don't know of what Donald Trump did to garner 70 million votes. I was surprised at that. But one Republican said this, and I'm gonna quote, it wasn't so much of Republicans voting against Republicans. They voted for Republicans. They just voted against Donald Trump. You understand? Because they took some of the House seats. They basically still got the Senate back. But what they lost at is with Donald Trump. Had they had someone else in that White House other than Donald Trump, it's very well that that person would have been reelected. One of the problems, in my opinion, is that we got to stop being political correct. We got to stop throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We got to put the rubber to the road. The rubber going to meet the road now that we got somebody in there different. We got to find the rabbit in the snow or put the rabbit in the snow. It does not matter. My point of it is that for Pence, I don't know whether Pence was who he was. I think that Donald Trump gave everybody the opportunity to be who they are and say how they feel and do what they want to do. And look how many people accepted them. So I'm going to reiterate something that I said to a friend. Some of you out there don't like because I perhaps curse sometimes. Some of you don't like out there because I seem to make things black and white issues. I got to remind you that Percy Bland is not a white man. I got to remind you that Greg Gillian is a white man that I have helped. And so I got to remind you that a lot of the people that I help are black folks that are in dire straits. Now, I'm a supporter of Rita Jacks and her endeavor. I'm a supporter of Ant Ball and his endeavor. I'm a supporter of Greg Gillen and his endeavor. I'm a supporter of Levi Gibbs and their endeavor. One of the things that I think the City of Meridian need to do is that City of Meridian need to solve all these lawsuits. I don't think it's fair for this administration, knowing they're getting ready to go into a lame duck session, meaning that it's time, it's very well that all of you may not be in power this time next year. That's you, Kim. That's you, Weston. Even you, Weston. That's you, Percy. That's all of you. That's you, George. That's you, Fannie Mae. And that's you, Dwayne. So y'all need to make sure when you leave home, don't you clean up your house? If you rent an apartment and you understand that y'all don't own the City of Meridian, you are actually renters. And you should leave it. You should prepare this for the next person that come in there so that they don't have to clean up your damn mess. Now, one thing that you all should do is you should authorize everyone. Every suit that you have, you need to settle it. You're not doing right, person. We're not going to accept Chris Reed. There's no way you can make us like him. I don't give a damn how many times he give a gift to a little black kid. And Toya Brown, I got to say this to you is that I have a lot of respect and love for you. And that's in all truth. But I don't think that, and you got a right to support who you want to support. But to support someone as chief of police because they giving another child. I read what you said, talking about that's good and that's what we need. And I can say it my way too, Bell. That's good that Chris Reed going into the black community and finding him a little kid and he giving them toys. That's our money, Chris Reed, that you're spending because you ain't spending it out of your pocket. Giving them toys, and we want our kids to have toys, but it ain't Christmas yet. He's already campaigning for, but we want you to solve some of these damn crimes out there. Why did you lie? You lied to the city council when you went before the city council about Levi Gibbs. Why don't y'all drop the charges against Levi Gibbs and pay him restitution? Why don't you make things right with Greg Gillen and his father? I talked about his father, Vietnam vet, 80 years old. But what happened to Greg is a whole lot worse than what happened to his dad. Let me tell you about me. I escaped from jail. I jumped bond. That wasn't so bad. When I escaped from jail, it was horrible for me. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't rest. I was always looking over my shoulder. I didn't know when I was going to be. I didn't know whether somebody was going to jump out and kill me. I'm just telling you the truth because I was on the most wanted list. Hell no, too, Bell. Not the top 10. Oh, you my brother, you know. So I'm talking to y'all out there. Not the top 10, but I was on the most wanted list. I was when somebody was most wanted by the state of Alabama. And they got me. And I tell you that when they got me, it was like a burden. I'm glad that I ended up going to prison. I was glad that they found the nightmare was over. I can only imagine what Greg going through or can go to jail at any time. And this is created by the City of Meridian, folks. It's not right. If they do that to him, a white man, imagine what they'll do to somebody like me and you out there. We got to, it ain't so much of voting for Kim. Kim, listen at me. I don't like you, and I think you'll keep the same thing going, the person going. Now, that's your governing authority that I don't like. Your style of government, the way you govern, the way you implement policy, I don't like that about you. But you understand, Kim, that if you go head to head with Percy Bland, you my person. Jimmy Smith, you heard what I said. But Jimmy Smith, if you in a runoff with Percy Bland, you my person. Now, I already done told y'all that Tyrone Johnson will tell a lie. We know that. He had moved out of his ward and he lied about it. But guess what, Percy Bland? If you and Tyrone Johnson go head to head, guess what, Tyrone, you my man. Same thing with you, Western. Now, I'm a Western Linderman supporter. I support Western Linderman. I'm going to vote for him and I'm going to help him get there. But guess what, Western, if you ain't in that runoff, and I'm just telling you, folks, I believe it's going to be a runoff. The reason why I believe it's going to be a runoff, because you got Tyrone Johnson, you got Jimmy Smith, you got Kim Barney Houston, you got Percy Bland, and you got Western Linderman. That's 5 people going to run for mayor. It's going to be hard for any one person to get 51%. You know what's really ironic, folks, is that, Kim, I want you to really do all you can to turn out your folks. Look, I do. If that many people love you and want you to be our next mayor, I want you to do all you can to get your people out. Work your behind off, Kim, and get them out there. Try to win this thing. Hold up, I gotta say the same thing about Tyrone Johnson. If you really think that you can win, Tyrone, work your butt off. Work hard. Work your butt off. And get your folks out. And the same to you, Jimmy. Work hard. Get money from whomever. Work hard and get your people out. Western, work hard. Get your people out. Y'all understand where I'm going with this? I want all of you to work hard. Work your behinds off and get your folks out, because every vote counts and every vote matter. Understand what I'm telling you, people? It ain't so much that we get somebody else in there. It's our goal and objective is to get that nigga up out of there. Y'all understand what I'm telling you? We ain't voting for nobody. We voting against him and his administration and his cronies and corruption. That's what we voting against. We're not voting for anybody. I'm not voting for any of the 5. Each one of us gonna pick who we gonna vote for. But we gonna vote against this. It's time for change, folks. The winds of change is blowing. We've already knocked one domino down. Do you know that domino going to transcend and going to change everything on a national level? And it's going to affect us trickling down here on a local level. But, folks, we have an opportunity now in May of next year to knock that one domino over. And we can make this a viable and a living and a good community for everybody. White kids, black kids. Then we can really live out Martin Luther King's dream. I don't care. You know, one person was at the workshop was talking about how horrible Martin Luther King Street is. It's horrible to her, but it's not horrible to me, because her trash is my reality. That's my hood she talking about. She said if you make a left on Martin Luther King or right, it's horrible neighborhood. She talks about how bad it was and the dilapidated houses and the folks that hang it out in certain areas. She talked about it too, Bill. She talked about it. You know, a dead end out there, but that's my Martin Luther King. I love it because I know what Martin Luther King stood up for. I know what Martin Luther King went in the neighborhoods like that. He wasn't about uptown and bougie. Talking about how good it looked in other places. Well, you hadn't been everywhere, because I've been to a lot of places, and Martin Luther King is almost always in the hood. Only in maybe some cities they got a main boulevard in there, but almost in every place that I've been to, Martin Luther King Boulevard is in the hood. It's in the community, in our community. Folks, we're going to go to break now. We're going to read your comments, and we're going to come back here, and we're going to talk about Donald Trump on this national level some more and tell you guys some things. I really appreciate you guys listening and everything, but we can't have a chief of police that just walk around, and he wasn't doing, folks, it's not him. It's fake. It's BS, because he has not been doing this. He stood there when they drug. Y'all look at the video. That's Chris Reed that's standing there talking while one of your brothers, that's your brother, your uncle, your friend, your neighbor, that's on the ground, blood coming out his mouth and a big knot upside the head where Alex Lee jumped on him and beat him. Chris Reed was there. He lied about that. But now he want to come to your children. He hadn't been done this. He been on the police force 15 years and he ain't never did nothing to a black kid or for a black kid other than put him in handcuffs and took him to jail. We don't let them, we are more than that. We're a whole lot more than that. We're more than giving our children gifts. We're more than a smile when we're going down the street. We're more than, hey, stand next to me and pat me on the back or give me a few dollars. We're a lot more than that. We want our children to be educated. We want this city to prison. That's what it is. It's not school to prison, schoolhouse to jailhouse. It's community to jailhouse. That's where we're going, from this community to jailhouse. There's nothing for our children to do. Our children are not being educated. Our children don't have anything to do. This administration been there for 7 years and they ain't done shit. It's time for change, folks. We need to vote against him and get him up out of there. Dice Man, take us to break. Folks, I want to welcome you back to Reaching Out with Other People. One of the things that, Dice have said it before, and I'm going to reiterate, is that everybody come to Meridian to pimp Meridian. And when you heard me talking about Chris Reed going into our community, giving our children toys, and Latoya Brown put it on her Facebook page, people to see that's a setup. See, what Chris Reed did is call Latoya Brown up, or either probably in their meeting they come up with these different strategies in order to bamboozle the folks, and we're gonna use that same word, pimp Meridian. So they all in the same meeting. So I'm gonna go home and get my children. I'm gonna have them out there, and then you come by and you give them some toys. And when you give them toys, I'm gonna take a picture of it, and I'm gonna say something really nice and positive about it, and put it on my Facebook page. And everybody everybody that I like and know me, they're gonna pat me on. Ooh, that's so sweet, that's so good. But folks, we're not that shallow. Latoya, you may be that shallow, but we're not that shallow. We are an intelligent people. We're very intelligent. Dice Man in the comments, are they over there? And so people we got to stop the pimping. We have an opportunity to let keep the winds of change blowing. And I just think God is all of this. And Marie Franklin, you been MIA. You ain't called in. Now, are you going to call in? And are you out there? If y'all got comments or something you want to say, put it on our comments there, and we definitely going to read it. And some of you put comments after the fact, and as you know, I answer those also. It doesn't matter whether you're positive or negative, I'm going to answer you. And Dice Man, what about those comments?
Okay. Good evening, people. All right, here we go. Loretta Bennett says, greetings.
What's up, Lo?
Tristan B. Hampton says, hey, y'all.
Hey, Tristan. Tristan, I just got to tell you this. I get in trouble even if I don't talk about your eyes. I just get in trouble every day. Tristan, if I don't answer the phone, I'm in trouble. If I leave my phone, some of y'all phone like your Bible. Well, I have an Android phone. If I had that little clam phone, I'd probably keep it with me all the time. But anyway, hey, Tristan.
No-win situation.
No-win situation. That's what black women, y'all insane. I'm just tell y'all that. Y'all insane.
I didn't say that, Tony.
I said
it. Mississippi B. Mac says, sup, Holt.
What's up, Mac?
Brenda Gordon says, good evening, everyone.
Hey, Miss Gordon. Mrs. Gordon.
Hello, Miss Gordon. Thais E. says, good evening, people.
Hey, Thais.
Mississippi B. Mac also says, the states need to go ahead and certify them because they have not yet.
Let me elaborate on that. They can only certify once the counting is done. If there's any kind of questions or anything like that, all that has to be satisfied. But they have a deadline. As long as they meet that deadline, if anything's still taking place and they've already submitted what the count is so far, in case they want to have some numbers there in case they have to call it. But on December the 14th, the Electoral College will meet and they got to certify the election. I think it's December the 14th.
Okay, Mississippi BMAC also says, and the Federal Election Commission needs to make an announcement. That way, there is no confusion.
It's not any confusion. It's not BMAC at all. It doesn't take anybody. They've already done that. You can look at the numbers. The election is over, and Biden has won. Even without those states there that are being, that he's going to get, he's already has the numbers. He's already went past 270. There's no way Donald Trump can win. And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes because a judge, let me just read this. In Pennsylvania, the judge asked, and understand, the president accused the local Republican election official, Al Smith, of ignoring a mountain of corruption and dishonesty, and this guy has received death threats as a result of that. And so they went to court. And the judge asked, he said, he asked the lawyer, the campaign lawyer, had he found any signs of voter fraud from among the 592 ballots that they challenged. And guess what he answered, folks? He answered no. So there's no evidence of anything that Donald Trump is saying. The GOP listed of alleged criminal voter fraud 3,000 and 3,062 in the state of Nevada, and they sent that to William Barr. And how about over 1,000 of the people on the list were military families, and some of the people done came forth and said, hey, my name is on that list. They kind of like didn't have the names, but they was able to figure it out by looking at the address where they said they live at and the address that they used to live at. And so one person gave their name. And so in Arizona, the AG said no evidence of voter fraud. And this is the voters back, and he's the one to make that statement. He said there's no evidence of voters fraud. He said the voters backed Republicans, and you see that the Republicans did win there. They did not back Trump. And so everything Trump's saying is just not true. But what it does do is that it creates problems for us in this country. This is not a dictatorship. We don't have kings here. We have a democracy, and democracy is chosen by the people, and it's the majority. And in this case, he won the majority, and he won the Electoral College.
Okay, Loretta Bennett says Hillary won the popular votes, but I don't think she never conceded. But neither did she put up a fight stopping Trump from going into the White House.
Yes, she did. She did concede the election, and he won by 306 electoral votes. She did concede. This is the first time that someone refused to do that. You had three other presidents. You had Bush 1, and you had Ford, and you had Jimmy Carter that did not get re-election, and all of them conceded, and they did a graceful exit from the White House. Donald Trump is the fourth. He's getting ready to join that club, not being re-elected, and of course he's bucking.
Okay, Jim Myrick says hello, checking in.
Hey, Jim.
Brenda Gordon says Trump shouldn't be allowed back in the White House because he is dangerous to the USA. He is wicked and doesn't care what he does to harm the nation.
And I agree with that, but if I'm on the side of democracy and the law. If Donald Trump chooses to run for re-election again, and he's the Republican nominee, and the people accept him, then we gonna show them how to gracefully accept, the election results.
Okay, Ellen Franklin says, good evening, peeps.
Hey, Marie.
Hey there, Miss Franklin. Angela Amerson says, hello there.
What's up, Gay? You finally got through there. How you doing? Tell Jake I say hello.
All right, what's up, buddy? Jim Myrick says, I have supported Trump, but have never supported the persecutor.
And I understand that. And persecutors, he talk about on the local level. And I got to ask you this, Jim, is that how do you feel about how Trump is carrying himself right now? Do you believe in the democracy, or you think that Donald Trump should continue doing what he's doing? If you answer that, then we'll read your comment.
Kendall Holt says, blacks vote Democrat and hope they treat us right. So far, hoping has not worked.
And we talked about that, nephew. We talked about that, cuz. We talked about that. The Democratic Party has knocked us around, and believe it or not, it was a Democratic president when Joe Biden, if I'm not mistaken, Joe Biden was a Democrat, or was he an independent? I don't know, but either way, when he sponsored that bill in 1994, the Truth in Sentencing, and it incarcerated a lot, that's when they came up with the 3 strikes laws and all that hurt destroyed a lot of black families. And that's when the prison population went up for black folks around 50%. But it's at 40% now.
Okay. Ellen Franklin says supporters of Trump might as well support Percy. They have the same mindset when it comes to the citizens.
I kind of agree with that, Marie. But I gotta say this to you, Jim, is that if Percy was white, would you be saying the same thing? If Percy and Donald Trump basically are the same way, they're basically doing the same thing. They both have that corruption, but you can support Donald Trump and his hating women's, taking away people right, and the other things that he's done that we know about. And Percy Bland is doing the same thing. How is it that Percy Bland is the persecutor and Donald Trump is not the Trump-acutor? Okay. And answer that, and I'll read that comment.
Okay, Loretta Bennett says, Marie, the reason why people will support Trump but not Percy because Percy is black, which is foolish because they both are corrupted.
How about I just said that basically? And which shows that a person is a prejudice. You prejudge black folks, or either just don't like people because of the color of their skin, and that's what you would call discrimination. Now, when you prejudge someone, that's when you judge them without really knowing them. But we know Percy and we know Donald Trump, so that wouldn't say that you're prejudiced, Jim, but it would show that you're somewhat discriminate. Okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that either, Jim, because hell, I don't support now one on. And I'm discriminating against both of them.
Okay, Brenda Gordon says, what is the true nature and personality of the new police chief? He is saying that he wants transparency. I don't know. Yeah, excuse me, I'm sorry, it went up on me. Give me just a second, people. Lost it. Okay, Ms. Brenda, I'll come back to that.
But let me answer that. Right, go ahead, finish it.
Okay, so let me start again for everybody. What is the true nature and personality of the new police chief? He is saying that he wants transparency. I don't know him. He is being sincere with that statement.
And Brenda, he's not being sincere with that statement because you don't know him, and he just not started. He didn't come from anywhere else like Charles Coleman or Louis Robin. We knew him from past, but he's been here all the time, but you haven't seen him. He was over the ICE unit. That's Interstate Criminal Enforcement. What they were doing with the interstate, and this here, I hadn't seen this, but this is me. This is what I'm told, and this is what I'm saying, is that they intercept drugs on the interstate, and they take those drugs, and they bring those drugs back into the community. They sell those drugs, and they split that money amongst themselves. But not only that, he was there when Levi Gibbs, if you've seen that video, I still have it, and I can play it again, with him standing there when Levi Gibbs was being, they call it abuse of authority on the color state law, well, the one that's supposed to protect your rights, protect and serve, instead of protecting and serve, they're beating down and they're taking away your rights, and they think that they can do things with impunity. Chris Reed is that person. And he was their supervisor, and he went before the city council and he lied. But coming to little black kids, and then it's LaToya Brown, that's Percy's supporter. All this stuff is suspect. I'm so tired of that. Damn, LaToya, we're smarter than that. We're so tired of this kind of stuff. We need you guys to treat us as if we have some semblance of intelligence.
Okay, and correction, she said, I don't know him. Is he being sincere with that statement? But you still answered it. Kendall Holt says, Loretta, Biden has been corrupt for 30 years. The system was never meant for us. It does not matter if it's Trump, Biden, or Clinton.
And I want to say this to you, cousin. Now, this is what Dice is talking about. And everything you're saying is true. But you understand at some point in time, there's got to be some kind of atonement. But again, Biden, I wasn't so much for voting for Biden. I was voting against Trump. Do y'all understand that we got to do the same thing on a local level? It ain't so much that we're voting for anyone. You know, some people going to support Jimmy Smith, going to have his supporters. Kim Barney Houston going to have a supporter. Hey, I'm going to be pushing. I ain't trying to hurt now one of y'all. I ain't saying nothing negative about anyone anymore. When you guys announce y'all running, I'm going to push you guys to win. I want you to win. I'm going to say everything positive about all of you. Even you, Tyrone. I'm not going to remind the folks because I don't want to do that. I want your people to get out in droves and support, because what we need to do is we need to turn the voters out. So y'all heard me say it here. We're not talking about anyone. What we're going to do, y'all can talk about each other. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to promote all of you guys. I want you guys to get your voters out, because what we need is change. I believe that any other bulb would be better than what we have right now.
Okay, and let me say something to follow up on that, because I know exactly where he's coming from. We're both coming from the same place.
Right.
So that we can be ready for next week. We still going to follow up Monday, or y'all done checking out?
I'm going to take your damn head off, Dice. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm taking your head off. You hear me tell me too well? Glove. I'm taking my gloves off. Taking them off.
Be ready. You're going to need them back on. But anyway, for everybody out there, so you have a fair chance of having equal access to the information, I put the links in the bottom of last week's video. So please go there, check those links out, because we're going to talk about all that material next week. Okay, I'm gonna move on here. Ellen Franklin says exactly, Lo. They'll support their corrupt race, but not a black man.
And I'll be glad when we can get away from that, because when John Robert Smith ran for office the first time, I supported him. And it wasn't so much that supporting his policies. I didn't really go into great detail about it. It's just that the person that I wasn't going with what we had. And they even brought Jimmy Kemp out of the woodworks to try to beat him. And I didn't support that. And so I supported John Robert Smith the first time. Of course, when Jimmy Smith ran, I didn't go with Jimmy Smith. I went with the Truth Master. I even financed the Truth Master campaign. Now, some of the folks thought maybe that had Truth Master not win, Jimmy Smith would have been elected. But you got to understand that the numbers that he lost by could have been contested, and Jimmy Smith did not contest it. So it's very well that Jimmy Smith did win, but he didn't contest it. So if he don't contest it, it wasn't our duty to do so.
Okay, Loretta Bennett says, Kendall, I did crazy things in my younger days, but I'm not that person anymore. Okay, so she was just...
And I can attest to that, and what she mean by that, because we can't go back and look at Joe Biden, how he did in the past. And George Wallace, he wasn't the same person he was when he died. Black folks loved George Wallace by the time he died, and he was the governor of Alabama, so much so they loved him so much that when his wife ran, Lurleen Wallace, she became governor 2 terms. So again, Kendall, I'm not the same person. And then you look in your Bible, and Marie, you and Brenda can attest to that. When you're a child, you do things as a child. When you're a babe, you do things as a babe. But when you become a man, you do things as a man and in a manly way. I don't do things the way I done before. I did things back then that caused me to get felony convictions, get in trouble, hurt people and things like that, and I'm not that person anymore. I even play in the church. Who would have thought 3 years ago that I'll be playing in the church? And I've been playing consistently in the church for 2 years because I went through a transition. Dice.
Okay, Mississippi B. Mac says, Mr. Kendall, you are right. Left wing or right wing, they both belong to the same corrupt bird.
But but we the people, folk, we. And how they control that thing is with the Electoral College. But we're the people. We can put people in there. We got to start getting out and voting. And we have of the races that are out there, black folks vote in a lower number. And we vote at a lower percentage, and we got to turn that around. We the people can still change that. If we put people in there that's going to implement policies and procedure on a local level, county level, state level, national level, but we can't do that if we stay at home. We cannot do that if we don't vote. And we cannot do that if we put our feelings in front. In other words, we got to rise up above our feelings and get on the mountaintop and look down, and we got to do things more community as opposed to being chaotic and divisive.
Okay, Ellen Franklin says, if we made our presence known in every single election, our position would be much better. And they know we vote part-time.
That's right. And we got to change that perception, and that's basically what I just said.
Loretta Bennett says, I am told Solly at the City of Meridian Community Development Department give all black folks a hard time, and this tea is coming from inside the department.
And how about I'm told the same thing, and I agree with it. And I think they got to know that. And that's what's wrong. People, when you have something that's wrong with something bad, instead of keep trying to put a Band-Aid on it, you need to go ahead on and fix it. How you can fix this problem, Solid need to go somewhere else. He needs to, this is our community. This is our town. Find somewhere else for him to work, Percy. Miss Laura, find somewhere else for him to work.
Okay, Jim Myrick says, never tell anybody they can't do anything.
I agree with that. No argument. Dice.
Loretta Bennett says, I'm also told people within the department complained on Solly.
Why is Solly there? Could somebody tell me, is he related to the Solly? Gotta be, because that's such a unusual name. Why is he there? If he's an electrician, why isn't he out doing electrical work too, Bill? Something wrong with that, ain't it?
Joanne Holt says, good evening.
Oh, stop right there, folks, stop. Now, Joanne, I know you're doing this intentionally. Y'all going to start paying for advertising now. I got to pay my light bill, but I got to tell y'all this, folks. I went and bought some of that food today. Dice, you got to tell me who's doing the cooking, because you know who all that. Now, I got to tell you this, is I bought some chicken. I like chicken. Black folks love chicken. I bought a pork chop. Now, I love how they make that pork chop down there at Eddie's on 5th Street. And I love how they make their chicken. Now, I bought chicken wings and I bought the pork chop. Folks, I got to tell you that I done lived for 67 years and I never ate pork chop that tastes so good. It is tender, tastes so good, juicy, it just melts in your mouth. I want another one already. But now the chicken is good. But Eddie got y'all beat on the chicken. Now, it could have been because it tastes like a little burn a little bit. But it was good now. But it's in second place. Eddie chicken is first place. And Eddie pork chop second place. So the chicken a little bit, maybe don't cook it so long. Or either change the grease a little bit more. But the pork chop, But either way, I'm going to go buy my chicken and pork chop from there because I'm supporting a black business. I also, they have ATM. They charge $2.99. That's competitive around here. If they charge $3.99, I still use it because I'm supporting a black business, a family business. And no, it's not my business. It's my sister you're talking to her and my nephew. He don't want y'all to know it, but I'm going to tell him. His name is Raymond Payne. Y'all call him Lil Payne. Oh, Uncle, you shouldn't have told them my name. They hate on me so much. No, they need to know. I don't believe in tricking folks. They need to know. And my sister Doris, that's her son, and she's there today. And I'm proud of my family. I'm proud of their accomplishment. My nephew been to jail before. I'm proud of him. He makes about $20,000, $30,000 a month from rental houses from HUD. So he has a very good income, and he did that. He created a business for himself. He bought houses. He rehabilitated them. And this young man, kid, is doing the same thing, and I'm proud of him. And another person do that. Garrett Owens does that. And his name Gage. Both of those two guys, them young men make about, shoot, $30,000, $40,000 a month, and that's a pretty good income for this area around here, folks. Dice?
Okay. Yeah, and that's my cousin Dante Cross that's doing that cooking. I taught him everything he knows.
Go ahead, the Dice man. But I see the Dice. You know,
I'm just playing.
Hold up, Two-Bell. He telling this story. No, he ain't playing. Dice man taught you what you know, and I taught Two-Bell what he know. That's my story. We sticking to it, and don't none of y'all try to change that.
Yeah, no, I can't take that man's credit. He has done a great job. I went the other day, Wednesday. He can cook. It's good, and he been doing this thing for a while. So I'm very proud of him, man. Shout out to you, Dante.
Yeah, my shout out to you too. The food is very good there, and they talking about waffles and chicken. Well, I know I don't eat waffles, I don't eat pancakes, anything like that, but I tell you that food is just off the chain. And y'all go there and get you some gas. We got gas there too. Got some gas and got my favorite yak drink there. So my sister said she had to go to Georgia to get it. But I appreciate you going to Georgia, but I ain't gonna pay you gas, fam. Keep on paying them competitive prices. Thank y'all.
All right, and I will say, great service, very friendly service, and I love that part about it.
No matter who's in there.
Right.
No matter what age they are, what it is. It's always friendly, there's always a smile, and they're respectful. And you go to so many places, they watching you, seeing if you're stealing something. They following you, they telling you to get out, they won't do that. And I just tell you that it's just, man, y'all gonna be in business a minute. I'm really proud of you guys. Now put some more products in that store. I heard Two-Bell. Said, bro, why you had to say that? This my store. This is my show, Two-Bell. This Reaching Out with Eddie.
All right. Ellen Franklin says, this city council is not going to do anything. We must receive it.
And how about you're right about that, because I gave this attorney that all the information. I haven't heard from him. I was polite. And how about Weston Linderman told me. Weston told me not to do it. He said, don't give it to him. That's his job. He's an attorney. That's his job. How about, that's the way we're brought up, Dice. So I gave it to him, bro. And this man didn't even say thank you. All they had to do is send a courtesy. Matter of fact, you're a big law firm. It should be automatic. Like State Farm, AT&T, when they send your email, it's an automatic response. I didn't even get that too, bro. I think they have that. They just turned it off for me.
Okay, Loretta Bennett says, I believe the police chief in Marion giving Chris Reed those toys, and I also believe that the cheap toys he given the two black kids on yesterday was a team effort by Reed and Percy. Plot.
That's right, and Latoria Brown. And Latoria, because they were her children. They weren't just some random kids out in St. Francis Eastern Garden. I don't even know whether he'll go up in there or not, especially walking about. Probably get shot. I'm not telling anybody to shoot the new chief of police, you understand? Just never seen him walk in Eastern Garden where them gang members at.
Okay, Loretta Bennett also says Kim and Percy are one and the same, corrupted. She's the female version of Percy.
I agree. I agree with you, Lolo. But I think my message in this is that if we have to choose between Percy and Kim, we got to go with Kim because we done had 7 years of that. And perhaps, and you know, power does corrupt, absolutely, and absolute power corrupt. But my point is, folks, is that we got to put it in our mindset that we're not voting for any particular candidate. We're voting against Percy. That's the only way we're going to get him up out of there.
Okay, Mississippi B. Mac says, I love it when you get fired up. You can tell you have compassion, and that comes from this white boy.
Well, thank you, B. Mac. Yeah, I do. I love my community. I love what I do. I went there today with those two people. It was very successful. So every day I'm doing something. I can tell you that I went let me tell y'all what I did. You know, I told y'all how I went before St. Francis and talked to the manager there. And you understand the young lady got a fire report, said it was unintentional, no fault of her own. How about they sent a bill back? This girl sent a bill for $48,000 saying she owed. So what we need now, see, I'm not going to be pushing for her to move back in the apartment. What I'm going to be pushing now for the manager of St. Francis to go be put in the unemployment line. Because when you have people like that, when they get vindictive, why should you create problems? We got to get people out that are vindictive, that are, instead of trying to make a safe and viable place for a person to live, then they're creating a problem for this lady. This lady she's on a fixed income, has nowhere to stay, and this person over there sent that letter and signed it themselves. How about just listen a bit? And this here ain't nothing that Meridian had to pay. The insurance paid it, folks. It could be $100,000. She's not liable for that. And so what we'll be doing is filing lawsuit. But Ron Turner, I'm going to talk to you first. You are the executive director. Even though this is sub out, you can look at this contract and you can use your authority, your office, and call them up. Say, hey, helper, stand down.
Okay. All Gas No Brakes 81 says, good evening, fellas. Always keep that same energy.
Well, we will.
Yeah, thank you. Angela Amerson also says, Alonzo said he's never known you to curse that much.
Hell. I was always quiet.
Okay. Elena Marie Davis says, good afternoon, you all.
Good evening.
Hey there, Miss Davis. Yeah, good friend of mine, man. She pretty too.
And y'all noticed that Alonzo Franklin is Jake. When it said Jake, tell Jake, hey, I'm the only one calling him that. You know, I just do. You know, he used to be one of my karate students. We grew up together. I remember when he got hit as a baby. He was very young. We was going to the store, and we was living in the alley. It's a project there now. He was probably about 2 years old, and I was probably about 4. My brother Red was there, and we was going to the store, and it was a murder road, folks, and we was going to that store, and it used to be a big old tree right there where the Y Fork is, in Old Man Road, where the fork is, Old Man Road. You pass by the old folk project, you go up. That car, ambulance came first. Now back then, and so we saw it and we stood there and watched. And then we seen that car trying to keep up with the ambulance, and the guy lost control of the car and coming in that curve. And how about me and my brother froze? We didn't move. And Jake ran, and man, that car mowed him down, and he stayed in the hospital a long time. That's how long I've been knowing him, that long. When I opened up a karate school, he was one of my adult students. He was very good at that, and he's a Muslim. And he's, you know, I'm real proud of him. You know, he's more like a brother. And Jake, I'm going to work on that. I've been getting counseling, and they've been talking to me about my profanity. Naturally, I have the ability to enunciate in a manner that's indicative of my education. But I'm passionate, and I'm a hybrid, you know, because I grew up in the alley, rough, poor, very, very, very poor. Didn't even know what shoes were. Matter of fact, my shoes were the skin on my feet, and that's year round. And so I'm hybrid, so I know I'm college educated, and I'll try to implement that, and I'll try to be more representative of my education and try not to use profanity so much in the future. And I want to thank all of you for bringing that to my attention. Dice.
Okay, Kevin Board says, when will we stop being pimped on paying for that Max Entertainment Center? We agreed to help build with a 2% tax, but now that it's built, why are we still being charged a food tax of 2%?
Kevin is another person I used to teach karate. I went to school with his mom, Kathy Malone, Kathy Malone Boyd, and his dad, Larry Boyd, very good friend of mine, and I taught both of them, him and his brother, karate. And I want to say this to you, Kevin. What we're going to have to do is we got to find a way to make it work. And what we have to do is, in my opinion, we have to embrace our bloody past. Instead of closing the courthouse down, what they're doing to it now, they should never have done. They're changing the wonders out and modernizing. It's just a way of spending our money and giving people money that don't really need that money. They should have left that building alone. They're getting ready to build a new courthouse. And so let's say if we can go through a transition and we can change everything out, including our supervisor. We can put the statue inside a building connected to that courthouse for anybody the Confederate want to go in there and visit and pray and say kumbaya, whatever they want to say. They can go in there and do that so they can keep their history. But we shouldn't have to see it. But also, they used to, back in the day, when they used to do, all sheriffs were responsible for their own electrocution and their own hangings, however they want to do it. They did hanging. And that gallows is still at the top of that courthouse. People would love to see that. The first race riot happened in Meridian, Mississippi, and that cemetery is still up there on 6th Street where they buried all the black folks. What they did is they went into the black community. They got the sheriff at that time went to the churches and got the ministers to disarm the black community. What they always do, they used to minister against us. And so this guy that they had on trial, actually the law that was passed was to protect black folks, but a white person used it to put him in jail. He got upset and angry. He killed the judge, and he got away, but they were so angry they just destroyed the black community. So we need to embrace that. They only built 2 Carnegie libraries, the black library that they tore down. We can rebuild that. The Masonic Lodge that was on 26th Avenue that your mom and I used to go and dance in. We could rebuild that because the material is still here. We can rebuild the Kofo building. We can do eminent domain. I know you might not like it, Val, but we'll do eminent domain and we'll take that back and we'll rebuild Fielders and Brook Drugstore. We can do that. They've done this in other cities. If they could rebuild the Alamo, which was a whole lot older than that, they got it looking exactly like it did when David Crockett and Jim Bowie was there. If they can do that, we can do it too. We could bring people from all over the world would love to come to see where the civil rights work of murder was planned at. They would love to come here and see all this where Schwerner, Goodman, and Cheney was the last place was at before they went to Philadelphia and got killed. So we can bring in money here, but it's going to take people with a vision. It's going to take people that care. But we can't separate. We're going to have to do this as a community. But the people that we have now, our governing authority, are the wrong folks to do this because that's not what they want. They want to keep sending our children. They don't want our children to do anything, Kevin. If you have children here, you know your children ain't got nowhere to go and nothing to do. All of our children are threatened with incarceration because they have privatized prisons. And what they don't want, they're not going to send their children, they're not going to send their neighbors' children. And even your bougie black folks are not going to send their children, and the bougie black folks too have stock in those prisons. They're going to send the low-class black kids, low-class poor black folks. That's the reason why majority of the people in Mississippi prison are black folk.
Okay, shout out to Kevin.
Yeah.
Mississippi, B. Mac says, I vote policy. People only get in the way.
And I hope that we all do that. Let's look at everybody's report card. And we need to start holding our elected officials accountable and stop letting the Democrats, Republican, or anybody in office, regardless of party affiliation, take advantage of us and just use us for our vote. And that's it. And then step on us and piss in our face and tell us it's raining.
Okay, Crystal Harris says, hey, Dad.
Hey, baby. That's Lala Harris there, y'all. Beautiful, beautiful grandchildren. I mean, wow. She's in shape. She's stronger than me, y'all.
All right, what's up, Crystal?
Hey,
Jim Myrick says, I have never agreed with everything Trump has done, but I still supported him. I have called Trump the Twitter president, called Percy the percolator, the persecutor, when he appointed James Lee as chief.
Well, thank you, and that is good, and we ain't gonna never hardly probably. I mean, Dice and I, you know, we don't agree for everything, you know, but I have a lot of respect for him, and I have a lot of respect for his views, and that's what we need.
Right, got to have it. Kendall Holt says, Kendall Holt says Kirk Holt can throw down on that grill also.
Oh yeah, Kirk can cook. He cook, but he don't cook the best barbecue. Cause Fred Welch holds that distinction, and I done ate barbecue all over the world. And my brother's in second place. He was in first place, so I ate Fred. And guess what, folks? Fred stopped cooking and stuff. They had a restaurant up there, and on Friday he did the barbecue. He has his own shit. Kirk, he got you, bro. I promise you, he do. Ooh, Lord, the meat fall off the bone. It melts in your mouth and tastes as good as, if I could eat pork chops and barbecue all day, I eat Fred barbecue, and I'll eat what the guy name?
Dante.
I eat Dante pork chops. All I need is any kind of vegetables and some cornbread, and I'll be happy day.
Okay. Let's see. I skipped one.
Dante, I'm coming to Sunday dinner.
Okay. Joanne Holt says, I do have more products in the store, Gray.
Uh-oh.
That sounds like she wrote it with attitude.
Yeah, she does. I want you to put some hair weave in there and hair weave lotion and no, I'm just kidding. It's y'all store to run, but you know them Arabs, we got it. But if y'all got it going on, as long as you keep the people coming there, you got what Dante up in there. That's all you need right there. I'm telling you. Cause folks come in there buy food, they buy other things, they buy gas and all that too.
Yeah. Loretta Bennett says Chris Reed has tattoos. Okay, she was talking back to somebody else.
Okay.
Jim Myrick says Chris Reed ain't never been up to any good.
That's right. And now he's trying to he's working for longevity. He want to be the chief of police. But Chris Reed, you're being used by Percy. Do you look at the track record of the previous chief of police? None of them been there a long time. Dupos was there the longest.
And Angela Amerson says, yes, Kirk food is so good.
Sure is.
And Jim Myrick says, y'all are making me hungry. And that's it, bro.
Hey, I want to thank you guys for listening in. Nevada said there's no evidence of voter fraud. Arizona Republican AG sees no evidence of voter fraud. The allegations and things like that. But the one thing I want to tell you is that one of the things that Joseph Biden is talking about is a nationwide lockdown. I don't necessarily agree with that, folks. And the reason why I don't agree with that, because I'm not really an advocate of masks. I only wear them when I have to, and I'm 67 years old, and I haven't had COVID. And believe it or not, the people are surviving COVID more so now than they did the first time, because really when COVID came out, they didn't know what to do. They actually have a way of treating people that have COVID. And a lot of the younger people who have a strong immune system is catching it now more so than anybody, but they're able to survive it. But the governor of this state here said that Mississippi will not participate in a nationwide lockdown. Wow. So Joseph Biden probably would thwart that because he would probably withhold funding. But again, that's what Joseph Biden better get ready for. The Republican governor, the Republican Senate, all of them going to thwart him every chance they get, just like they did Barack Obama. So, but what you got to do, Joseph Biden Jr., President-elect Biden, what you're going to have to do is that you're going to have to do like Donald Trump. Steamroll their ass. I want to thank you guys for listening. Y'all have a safe weekend. Thank you for those comments. Hey, keep subscribing, keep liking us. Make sure you guys like us. And if you have anything you want to say or any further discussion, make sure you put it there, because I look at it, I read it, I go back and watch the video, and I will answer. Yes, I know when I make a mistake, but ain't no sense in me correcting it after the fact, because you know it. And I was told by a good friend of mine that I kept saying Western, like Western civilization, Western Linderman. So now he got me self-conscious. It's Western Linderman for your next mayor. Y'all have a good evening. Thank you for listening. Dice Man.